We're just going to make this work. So again, folks, sorry for all the technical difficulties this morning. Hopefully you can hear me. But let's get into it. President Trump deportation plan is being blamed, according to Mark Zandi, for a potential inflation spike. So again, let's talk about what he's calling for. Let's talk about what you and I can look for to see if that is coming or not. First and foremost, Mark Zandi says deportations could cause inflation to rise from 2.5% all the way to 4%. Now, if you step back and you look at some of our inflation data from last week, you can start to see some of that coming, specifically in that very, very hot PPI reading. Again, remember when that inflation reading came out, it really took the market by storm. But what people failed to realize, and we talked about it on Friday, was that inside PPI was something everybody was missing. Now, lots of people talked about the number, over 3%. It was a sign that the tariffs were causing inflation. Well, maybe not. Inside, again, PPI, it was not goods inflation that really caused this massive spike. It was actually services. And if you understand services, services are mainly made up of labor. And if we are seeing a spike in labor costs, that will roll through and actually not be tariff induced, but it will be deportations. So again, folks, if you've been struggling with me this morning, I've tried this stream 3 different times on several different devices. Thank you for sticking it out. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I've definitely got to figure this technology out because we got some great interviews lined up today. So should be a lot of fun. But again, deportations are to blame for potential rise in labor cost. Labor cost rose to services. And as Mark Zandi says, we could see 4% inflation. I will let you think if that's good or bad. I'm just bringing you the data. We did get a lot of Fed speak over the weekend. I've got Goolsby, Barkin, Musselman, and others. So we'll just go down the list. Let's do Fed President Goolsby. Still a lot of strength in the economy. I disagree. I don't think it's there. I think we're going to get some additional nasty labor numbers, and we will see that the economy is not as strong as possible. Goolsby says, don't need to hold rates forever. This is a bow to eventually cutting rates. I think Goolsby is in the would rather not do it in September, but we shall see. And then finally from Goolsby, let's not overreact to 1 month of PPI or 1 month of CPI. Again, Goolsby painting the picture of we want multiple data points. And again, they have a whole nother month because they don't meet till September. Fed President Barkin, multifamily developers see shortages coming and higher rent. This is actually something that Ken McElroy brought to this channel over a month ago when he talked about why he is buying projects right now, because the pipeline is very dry. And at the end of that, while we have lower rents today, higher rents are coming. Next from Barkin, consumers are ready to trade down. This is something that I've tried to help you understand. It's called demand destruction. One of the potential outcomes of tariffs is customers down select or downgrade. And maybe they move from, product A to product B. This is, again, demand destruction. And why a direct one-to-one correlation from tariffs to consumer prices will not happen. Credit card data is providing a sense that July consumer data is maybe pretty strong. Again, folks, we've been hearing the death of the consumer for years. The doomers have been telling us nobody has money. Well, they have credit cards, and they are not afraid to use them. Fed President Musselman, half a point cut is not supported by the current state of the economy. I think this is more and more Fed presidents saying we are open to a cut, but we are not ready to talk big cut. Again, I'm in the camp that that's coming. We're going to see with the jobs data in a couple of weeks. Not hearing from businesses that they're on the verge of layoffs. I don't know. I don't think that's true. I think if you talk to small and medium-sized businesses, it could be on the cusp. Next point, and this one's important, puts out the idea that the payroll break-even rate is below 50,000. This is net new information. For the longest time, we believed, economists like myself believed, that if we were not growing between 115 and 125,000 new jobs, that we were falling behind. Recently, as about 90 days ago, that was lowered to 75,000 to 90,000. Now we hear this might be as low as 50,000. I don't know about you, but this seems like somebody changing the score because they don't like the numbers, changing the rules. And I'm gonna stick with the 100,000 mark. All right, if we're below 100,000, that's the market not behaving as expected. But again, they are trying to paint a picture, basically telling us it's not as bad as the data looks. I'm not buying it. And then finally, from Muslim, inflation is running close to 3%. I agree. The question, as we just talked about earlier, is that deportations, aka labor, or is it goods? Because you got to be very clear on what is causing the inflations. Is this a labor or wage spiral? Is this just a recalibrating of wages? Or is it the boogeyman of goods inflation? I think, at least as of today, through the PPI reading of last week, it is far more on labor than on goods. I do want to thank all of you for buying tickets to our Vegas event. We are now up to 74 tickets. I know there's 26 more of you watching this that say you are coming. So if you could help me get to that first 100 ticket sale, I would appreciate it. Again, I'd like to get 100 sold, at least 100 sold in August. So if you can help me get to that 100 mark, I would be greatly appreciated. You're going to be coming, so why not buy the tickets early? Also, we've had a big jump in school. We are now over 460 members, now 462. James, Christina, Rodrigo, Stephen, Husan, Travis, and Caesar, all 7 of you joined in the last 48 hours. Go ahead and introduce yourself, get all those free goodies, and just be part of the community. You will like it. Looks like All Nighter got his. So again, buy your tickets, and don't forget Inside School. We got the one and only Pace Morby today at 9:30. Get your opportunity to ask him some questions. He is going to be a keynote speaker at the event. Let's talk about the economic data coming for us this week. On Monday, we will have home builder confidence. Tuesday, housing starts and building permits. Wednesday, we will get the Fed meeting minutes. And then Thursday, weekly claims and existing home sales. Again, folks, this was something we nailed last month on the number. Existing home sales, if you don't recall, were expected to be over 4 million. I said no chance. They're going to come in at 393 or 394. Actually came in at 393. I think it's going to be another miss. The experts are once again calling for 4 million, and I don't think so. I think we're down 391, so even worse. 391, 392 is my call for this month. And again, we will get that on Thursday. Finally, leading economic indicators. Let's talk about Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett published, I think it's called a 13E or 13F, whatever it is. But he's made some moves. He bought home builders. He bought D.R. Horton and Lennar. Again, folks, don't forget Warren Buffett is often early, but he is committed. His plan is to hold these things for the long term. And again, he is saying that housing is near a bottom. He's not afraid to be early because he is building a position. But yes, I think it is interesting that Warren Buffett ponying up to D.R. Horton and Lennar. Last thing we'll talk about, and then actually 2 things we'll talk about. Last thing will be from Mark Summerlin, and then something I just put on Instagram that I think you will get, think you'll have fun with. Let's actually talk about that first. Instagram. Instagram today, there was a contract that I got from a fraudster trying to sneak money from me. This fraudster sent me a 3-page built contract. At least it was purported to be a built contract. I put it on Instagram. I want you to look at that and tell me which clause was the red flag. Which several clauses were red flags. Again, you can go to One Rental at a Time on Instagram. I put up this fraudster's complete contract. I thought you would get a kick out of it. So again, One Rental at a Time, Instagram, go check it out. When you're there, give me a follow. I'd love to get to 30,000 followers on Instagram. I think that'd be cool. So next up, lastly, Mark Summerlin. Again, Mark is in the running for the big job. He is in the running to replace Jerome Powell. Mark Summerlin says if the 10-year rate rises after the next Fed cut, that would be a sign to stop. I think he's absolutely right. You can't keep cutting the Fed rate and letting the 10-year note go higher. That's not supposed to happen. In addition to that, Mark supports a 50 basis point cut in September. Again, I think Mark sees the deteriorating labor market as I do. And again, the 10-year cannot go up after a Fed rate cut because housing is the weakest part of the economy. Again, folks, do me a favor. Go check me out on Instagram. I think you would love it. I just posted the contract. Not, again, remember, folks, this is not Built's fault. I love Built's product. In fact, I'm wearing one of their shirts right now. But go check out this fraudster's contract, right? They photoshopped a very creative contract, and I'd love to hear from you. Let me know. All right, I got to figure out this technology because I wasn't prepared to do this from my phone, but now I got to figure out why it's not working. Have a great day. Later. Bye.